Hello, my dear students. Welcome to our channel Rajesh Biology, and this is Rajesh, MSc Zoology. Today we are going to know about the classification. In that, first, need for classification. What is the need of classification? Because there is a lot of animal diversity in our earth, from cellular level organisms like porifera to completely developed human being. From protozoans also there is lot of diversity, nearly 1.25 million species are there. So it is impossible to study all the living organisms separately. For that purpose we have to classify the organisms into separate groups. So what is classification? Classification can be defined as the process by which anything is grouped into convenient categories based on some easily observable characters. For example, we go to bazaar and take some vegetables into our home. In that basket, there are carrots and potato, tomato, and lady fingers also is there, and some leafy vegetables also there. First of all, what we do the classification of vegetables into two separate groups: leafy vegetables and the remaining vegetables, and some fruits. After that, we divide the fruits into three different groups: apples and bananas and oranges. As like that, some vegetables also we classified into three or four different groups according to the identification characters. Carrots or some, all characters are similar characters, okay. And some potatoes, all the potatoes have similar characters. So we classify the vegetables into different groups with the help of observable characters. As like that, the animals also classified into different groups, like the animals which have cold blood animals, which live in water, have are categorized into fishes. As like that, some animals which have capable and living in water and land also are classified into amphibians. After that, some reptiles which have skeleton on their body, scales, okay, they are reptiles. As like that, the animals which have fur or hair on body are known as mammals. As like that, some animals have pouches, that pouched animals are known as marsupials. So we classified the animals into different groups based on some easily observable characters. This process is known as classification, and it makes impossible thing into possible. That is, we can study the entire animal world by the classification. Then next, taxonomy. What is taxonomy? All the living organisms can be classified into different taxa. First of all, I want to explain the word taxa. Taxa means it is a category. The scientific term used for categories is taxa. Taxa is a plural word and taxon is a singular word. So, kingdom Animalia is a taxa. Class Mammalia is a taxa. As like that, genus Homo is a taxa. So, all potatoes are taxa. So each category is known as taxa. Category is nothing but taxa in scientific terms, right? So the process of classification is called taxonomy. The process of classification is known as taxonomy, and in the classification we need first, what we do first, we characterize the animal, and then next identify. After identification we put name to that animal, that is nomenclature. After that we classify the animals into different taxa. So characterization, identification, nomenclature, and classification, these are the processes that are basic to taxonomy. First we have able to characterize the animal, and then next we have to identify some characters. Next we put a name to the animal, and then we classify that animal into separate taxa according to their characters. Then next, zoos as tools for classification. You already know the zoo, you may visit so many times in your past, right? So this is zoo. What is zoo? Actually, these are it is ex situ conservation. That means we take some animals from their natural habitat and put in under human care. So we protect the animals under human care, that is known as a zoo. This zoo enables us to learn about the animal's external features. For example, okay, animal tiger is like this. It has four legs and it has a long tail, and there are some spots on tigers. We can easily observe the characters of tiger in zoos, and it is also helpful for the food habits, to know the food habits of tiger. Okay, it eats only meat, so it is a carnivore, and it have ability to give milk to their baby tigers, so it is mammal. So we can easily observe the characters, and it is helpful in characterization and, sorry, in classification actually. So it is under class mammalia, and it is under carnivore. Right. Next, these observations enable us to systematize the organism and position in the animal world. Then next, museums. You may visit museums also, particularly scientific museums. In there are so many preserved specimens. If you visit any museum, of course, each and every intermediate college have a museum, or also have museum. In that museum there are some specimens in containers like this. Containers or jars have some fluid like structure, and that fluid is known as the preservative fluid. In that preservative fluid, some animals or some organs can be preserved very carefully for so many years. They protect the they protect the specimens within the jars from the decomposition. So these also helpful for observation and classification. And then next, the museums have pinned specimens also. There are different types of specimens. One is containers. It is a type of specimen. Pinned. So many insects are not preserved in a containers. They have killed and then next pinned to the sheet, and that sheet is put in a box. It is known as, it is also a type of specimen creation. And then next there is another type of specimens. They are stuffed specimens. In this type, some animals cannot put into jars like dogs or cats. So what we do in that conditions, we take the vital organs from the body and put some cotton into the body and stuff it. It is known as stuffed specimen. Put some cotton into the body, and then next we can pin it the body skin. So it is stuffed specimens. This type of specimens may create by some farmers also. If the baby buffalo may die, in that times the buffalo may not give to they may not give milk to the farmer. At that times, the farmers create stuffed specimens to create a imaginary to create a false baby buffalo before the real mother buffalo to give milk. And then next, skeletons. In so many movies like dinosaurs, Jurassic World, you may visit this type of animals. It is Tyrannosaurus Rex. It is a type of dinosaur. So skeletons also preserved in museums. The zoos and museums help us to observe the characters of the animals and to put the animal under a suitable classified taxa. Then next, biological classification. What is meant by biological classification? First of all, there are so much of diversity, 1.25 million animal species. It is not a number of animals, it is a number of species. Each species each species have billions of animals. So that much of diversity, that much of animals are present in our earth. So 1.25 million animal species have been identified and described. So all the species show diversity in structure and habits, habitats, and mode of life. So they show diversity in all the aspects. To understand the interrelationships among the diversified animal groups, like what is the interrelationship between the houseflies and mosquitoes, and then next butterflies and mosquitoes. So this type of interrelationships among the diversified animal groups, a systematic classification is necessary. That is the need of classification. A systematic classification is very important to understand the interrelationships between different and diversified animal groups. So here I'm going to teach you about the history of biological classification. Before that, I want to introduce a great scientist, Carolus Linnaeus. Carolus Linnaeus is a father of taxonomy and founder of modern systematics. And what is meant by systematics? Systematics is the branch of science that deals with the vast diversity of life. I'll teach you about the systematics in next further videos. First of all, systematics is the branch of science, okay, and he is founder of that modern systematics. And he introduced the system of hierarchical classification. I'll teach you about the hierarchical classification also in further videos, in next videos, okay. And Carolus Linnaeus was the first taxonomist to establish a definite hierarchy of taxonomic categories called taxa, like kingdom, class, order, genus, and species. At first time he introduced some taxa names. The taxa names are kingdom, class, order, genus, and species. Later another scientist, I think Haeckel, introduced the term phylum later uh, after Linnaeus discovery. Linnaeus give some names to the taxonomic characters, to the taxas. Later Haeckel give the name phylum. I'll teach you later about the Haeckel. Next, phylogenetic classification. What is meant by phylogenetic classification? It is an evolutionary classification based on how a common ancestry was shared. If you see the diagram, it is common ancestor for species 1 and 2, and it is the common ancestor for 1, 2, and 3. So from this animal, this animal give two branches, two different types of evolution. During evolution, this animal give rise to two different species, species 3 and a common ancestor. And then next, after some years, so many years, this give two branches, two species. So phylogenetic classification is based on how a common ancestor was shared. It is just like a tree and branches, and it summarizes the genetic distance between all species in the phylogenetic tree like this. Here, a Homo sapiens sapiens. When we compare with the Homo sapiens sapiens, the genetic distance between a developed human being and a monkey is so far, but it is somewhat near to the Homo neanderthalans, like this he is. So it summarizes the genetic distance also between the animals. Phylogenetic classification. Phylogenetic is also known as cladistic classification. Phylogenetic or cladistic, it is just like a tree. So it is a tree, so we can easily observe the what is common ancestor for all species, and we also get some information about the genetic distance between the one animal species to the another animal species. And analogous and homologous characters, you already know this. You may study about analogous and homologous characters in your SSC evolution topic. The organs which have similar structure and origin are known as homologous organs, like human hand, horse forelimb, cat forelimb, and wings of bat, okay, flipper of whale. These are the homologous structures. And analogous, the organs which have dissimilar structure and dissimilar origin but have same function are known as analogous organs. Analogous organs. Okay. So it also deals with the homologous and analogous. It also taken into consideration. So this is about the classifications. Thank you.